Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang in California with morsels of a thought of wisdom with uh George J. Chanos. Sorry, I am just wiping my morning eyes. Um, it is currently 6:10 a.m. Pacific time, and I'm in California, and I just woke up a half hour ago. And yes, I am trying to make it so that you guys have a great day. I am also going to have a great day by starting it out with you guys. You guys, I say you guys. When I was a child, there was a television show that said, "Hey, you guys," and it was called The Electric Company. It was all about, it was a children's show. It's all about how to spell and feel good about what you knew how to spell. And you didn't have to know everything, but you could know a few things and you could be just as good as everybody else. The most important person in the whole wide world is you. Come on, we'll show you. It was actually, that was not an ad on that show. That was a PBS. The Electric Company was a PBS show. The most important person in the whole wide world is you. Come on, we'll show you. I got that one out. I can't. I don't know a tune on that one. At the risk of scaring away the samurai, Millennial Samurai is in book one, A Mindset for the 21st Century by George J. Chanos. Okay, so here we are reading. Seek the truth. Seek the truth. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn by Alvin Toffler, American writer and futurist. To discover the truth, we must first recognize the need to discover it, and that requires an understanding that our minds are filled with false ideas and conceptions. Really? When we when we know the right things to do, it's a form of wisdom. And when we're actually doing it, it's an act of virtue. I'm trying to bring more virtue into the world, and it's a very Zen sort of thing to do. Um, the samurai knew about Zen. The samurai were all about the Bushido. Bushido is Wushidao. Wushi is the same word for samurai as Japanese is for um, warrior, martial arts warrior. Now, we're trying to bring more virtue in the world with morsels of a thought at a time. And I am really having a hard time here this morning. To discover the truth, we must first recognize the need to discover it. How come? Well, because we all have found now, with lots and lots of research, that the chi in the world is affected by thought and energy. Also, it is. All right, I'm not going to go into that part. And that requires an understanding the need to discover the truth. Knowing the need to discover the truth requires an understanding that our minds are filled with false ideas and conceptions. George J. Chanos says, unfortunately, the very idea that we cannot trust our own thinking is a very difficult thing to accept, maybe one of the most difficult. We resist unlearning and relearning just as we resist many kinds of change. Our egos hate being torn down, even to be rebuilt. Yes, we hate being torn down because we built something. We say, I spent all that energy building myself up, and you want me to tear myself down? Well, we didn't know the game went this way, but it does. It has to be build up, tear down, build up, tear down, build up, tear down, build up, tear down. But we still hate our egos being torn down. That's when we're a child. We're building a set of blocks in a sandbox or something. We're trying to build a sandcastle. We spend all that energy on it, and then somebody kicks it, and we cry. We're like, hey, or we go and whack the kid a couple of times on the shoulders and say, hey, 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 what'd you do that for? What'd you do that? Give me something of yours I can kick down. Um, uh, yeah. Carl Jung, Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, said, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. We don't welcome truth or change that interferes with our existing beliefs and worldview. We resist it. We resist it. We prefer comforting lies over harsh truths. We really do. We sit there and we let people give us a pat on the back with a lie rather than say to us, hey, this room smells terrible. You know, I'll turn on a fan, take out the cat dung. Yeah. More importantly, when it confronted with harsh truths, our brains unconsciously deploy what are essentially self-defense mechanisms that challenge competing thoughts and ideas and often prevent us from seeing the truth. The truth often conflicts with what we believe. It may conflict with our career, our associations, and our relationships. It may threaten our status or our public image. We may be attacked and ridiculed for speaking the truth, as others may not want to hear it. Instead, they may prefer to hear comforting and inspiring confirmation of that which they already believe. We are reading Millennial Samurai. Millennial Samurai is about millennials and about samurai and about the fact that we must become millennial samurai to take on book one, a mindset for the first century, 21st century. Oh boy, sorry about that. A mindset for the 21st century. Heck, guys, we're already a quarter of the way through our 21st century. If we don't pick up a mindset for the 21st century now, when are we going to do it? Hmm? The theory of cognitive dissonance also explains why we often have an aversion to the truth. Our brains instinctively resist information that causes dissonance. Our brains unconsciously adjust competing facts to relieve dissonance. This phenomenon works alongside a complementary phenomenon known as confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the tendency to accept and remember information that confirms our existing beliefs and ignore the information that contradicts those beliefs. Sometimes the truth is hard to recognize. Yes, it may go against everything we've been told and taught by society and governments. It may go against what we see, hear, and read in the media. It may go against what we believe and what our friends, family, and coworkers believe. In an age where fake news has become more prevalent and where the ability to manipulate our thoughts and actions has become an emergency, emerging skill set, and sought after trade skill, truth has become more elusive than ever. To find the truth, we must first understand that there are those who don't want us to find it. Some will even go to great lengths to conceal the truth from us. Unfortunately, a lack of candor is increasingly becoming more common. A seller of a car or a home may conceal defects to secure a sale. A journalist or media personality may omit certain facts from a story that conflict with their preferred narrative. A prosecutor might withhold exculpatory evidence or treat people differently based on any number of criteria. Lies are often mixed with truth to avoid detection, necessitating increased attention, critical thinking, and discernment. That means that lies that you hear are not all complete lies. They mix some bits of truth in it. That way, That way, you don't see the lie as easily as you can. And this means that you must become more attentive, more, you must do more critical thinking, and you must be more discerning. It is not always a lack of information or the quality of information that prevents us from seeing the truth. More often, it is the barriers to entry, end quote, quote, end quote, quote, barriers to entry, end quote, that our brain imposes on new ideas that threaten our existing beliefs. Hold on one second. I need to run off to the bathroom for a second. Okay. Dead air. Dead air. Dead air. Dead air. Golly. Oh. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Oh. Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. My nose is red. My nose is very red. Oh. Okay. Did I just put the book down? Ah. Uh, sorry. Okay. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. This is Ying Yang in California with morsels of a thought of wisdom. Of course, my wisdom is knowing the right thing to do is, anyway, it is not always a lack of information, but the quality of information that prevents us from seeking the truth, from seeing the truth. More often, it is the barriers to entry that our brain imposes on new ideas that threaten our existing beliefs, barriers that prevent us from seeing the truth. Rather than accept certain information at face value, we often bend, twist, and dissemble information to fit our preconceptions, making it all the more difficult to recognize that our preconceptions are false. Let's see, what are some of my preconceptions? My preconceptions. We want certain things to be true more than we want truth itself. We want to believe things. We don't want to see what things are and then believe them. We want to believe things and then see that things are like that. We want certain things to be true more than we want truth itself. We want the candidates that we vote for to be the best candidates. We want the candidates that we voted for to be the best candidates. We want the choices that we make to be the right choices. We want our worldview to be the right view. We want validation. Consequently, We unconsciously assess information that conforms to our preconceptions more favorably. We will accept a questionable source of information that confirms our existing beliefs while challenging a far more credible source that contradicts those beliefs. To find the truth, our primary goal must be the truth, no matter what it is. I have an example here of being somebody that testified against somebody. And my testimony was of something that had happened to me. And the judge, person judging the information I was giving was saying, "Oh no, she didn't do that." And I said, "What do you mean?" "She did." Now, I'm not talking about a court testimony. I'm not talking about a court case. I'm not talking about a court judge. I'm talking about in my example, I was speaking something that happened, and I said, "Well, what can I do about it?" And the person that I was asking said, "Well, there's nothing you can do about it because that person wouldn't do that." And I said, "What do you mean they wouldn't do that? I just told you that they did." So that person that was listening to me did not hear what I said as that had already happened. They heard it as I was afraid that that would happen. Well, I was afraid that it would happen again. And I did say, this is what has happened. I don't want it to happen again. But the person couldn't get it through their thick head that I was talking about an event that had already occurred. No matter how I said it, I said, "Look, I just said she did it. She did it." And then they were quiet and they didn't say another word and they didn't want to talk about it anymore. That's what it was like. The process required to find the truth, our primary goal must be the truth, no matter what it is. This process requires a commitment to self examination and critical thinking. Social etiquette, quote unquote, and political correctness, quote unquote, while well intentioned, are often the enemies of truth. By not wanting to say anything, quote, bad and avoiding taboo subjects, we often avoid the truth in order to be spiritually or politically correct. This sometimes prevents us from seeing the world more clearly, honestly, and objectively. Okay. Our need to be recognized and praised for what we say or believe can force truth to take a back seat to ambition, status, and our need for acceptance and admiration. Having good intentions is not enough. As T.S. Eliot, poet, essayist, and playwright, said, half the harm that is done in this world is due to people who want to feel important. They don't mean to do harm, but the harm does not interest them, or they do not see it, or they justify it because they are absorbed in the endless struggle to think well of themselves. A person would rather think they were a good judge than actually be a good judge. So they're trying to think, okay, I'm a good judge, but they're not trying to improve themselves and say, oh, I want to find out if I've been a good judge and thus understand where I can become a better judge. No, they're not doing that. And they need to. They ought to. They should do that. That would bring more virtue into the world, like I keep on wanting to do. Okay, so here we've been reading George J. Chanos's book, The Millennial Samurai, Book One, A Mindset for the 21st Century. There's no the in anywhere in the title. It is Book One, Millennial Samurai, A Mindset for the 21st Century by George J. Chanos. He is the former Attorney General of Nevada. Don't allow yourself to be distracted by the political circus, the sideshows masquerading as nightly news, or the priorities of the well intentioned. Be open and sensitive to the views of others, but make truth your priority. Educate yourself and attempt to see fraud, lies, distortion, and deception for what they are, regardless of the consequences. Be willing to put in the hard work. Be willing to put in the hard work of finding out the real consequences, finding out the truth. George Chanos says, the more we engage in a joint search for the truth and work together to discern and act upon the truth, the greater our chances for mutual success and survival. Millennial samurai seek and are committed to the truth. The next section is a little longer than I expected, so I'm going to go to gratitude. Uh, 1 second. I need to um I need to mark something here. It's here. It's here. It is indeed here. Okay. All right. Thing I want to go to is gratitude. With gratitude, we can read a little bit and then be on our way today. We are on our way today. Gratitude. Ralph Waldo Emerson, American essayist, lecturer, philosopher, and poet. His essays were like this thick of a book, small printing. Yeah, yeah. Ralph Waldo Emerson, really, really famous author. Gratitude. Cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you and to give thanks continuously. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most important and least understood of all the great core values. It can turn an ordinary day into one of joy and fulfillment. It is a gift that you bestow on others, which enriches yourself. It cannot only transform the way you experience life, it can literally rewire your brain. The antidepressant Wellbutrin boosts the neurotransmitter dopamine, and the antidepressant Prozac boosts the neurotransmitter serotonin. Gratitude boosts both. Feeling grateful activates the brainstem region that produces dopamine, while trying to think of things you are grateful for increases serotonin production in the anterior cingulate cortex. Bet these guys talked. Moreover, gratitude doesn't just make you happy, it can also create a positive feedback loop in your relationships. Gratitude contributes to a reciprocal process of relationship maintenance whereby each partner's behaviors feed into and influence the others. Be grateful for everything you have, no matter how small and seemingly insignificant. Life is, in large part, a matter of perspective, and gratitude creates one of the healthiest and most ideal perspectives possible. Make gratitude a habit. Make it part of your daily life and practice it like you would a skill that you hope to master. Wake up every morning with gratitude and be grateful every night, especially for the person next to you. Millennial samurai practice and understand the importance of gratitude. Now, have you ever seen a samurai movie, a Japanese samurai movie? There's always a scene where the warrior is invited in to lunch, dinner, or a meal, or a stay overnight, and is drinking the bowl of soup, miso tea, or something. Usually a bowl of tea, and they drink it like this. You know, and it's a cultural thing. It's the more noisily you slurp your soup, the more it means you're appreciating it to the host. So in Japan, you're supposed to go, so try to do that. Think of a bowl of tea next time you think of gratitude. Thank you. Okay. Old Kinderhook.